This is the LG 11,200 British thermal units through the wall air conditioner, and it does two things that matter most in daily life. It cools a medium to large room fast, and it does it quietly enough that I forget it is running. This is a through-the-wall unit, not a window unit. It is for people who want permanent, stable cooling and supplemental heating without giving up a window or dealing with the wobble and rattle that window units can bring. It is a great fit for a living room, a large bedroom, a studio apartment, or a home office where a clean look matters and steady performance is the priority. If you have or can add a dedicated 230-volt outlet and you want set it and forget it comfort with real thermostat control, this is right in that zone. What made me stop and pay attention right away is the way it looks and feels in the wall. The front panel is a simple, matte white that just sits flush, framed by a trim kit that hides the edges so it looks built in instead of slapped on. There is no chrome, no fake textures, nothing trying too hard. I can walk into the room and it blends into the wall the way a serious appliance should. The build feels solid when I press on it. No flexy plastic. The control panel is up front and easy to see from across the room, with a clear digital temperature readout and straightforward buttons for mode, fan speed, and temperature. The louvers push air in 4 directions, and that is not a decorative claim. A small nudge up or to the side changes how the entire room feels. The remote is the unsung hero here. It is basic, but it lets me tweak the temperature, flip the mode, or drop the fan to low without getting off the couch or out of bed. Setting it up was easier than I expected, but not something I would do alone. The unit is heavy, around 82 pounds, and I needed a second person to help lift, center, and slide it into the wall sleeve. If you already have a sleeve from an older unit, the swap is simple. For a new cutout, measure twice and be honest about whether you want a professional to handle the framing. The installation kit that comes with it is actually helpful. The trim frame cleans up the look and the foam and hardware keep drafts out. I already had a 230-volt outlet in place, which you need for this unit. If you only have standard household power, plan to add the correct circuit before you start. Once mounted and powered, it was plug and play. I set the target temperature, picked a fan speed, and the thermostat logic did the rest. The remote paired right away with no codes or extra steps. The controls are not overloaded with gimmicks, which I appreciate. The learning curve is basically non-existent. I used the timer the first week because I wanted the living room to be cool before I got home, and it worked exactly the way you hope. Set the start time, walk in later, and the air already feels crisp. There is an auto restart feature that remembers the last settings after a power blip, and that saved me more than once when the building had short outages. I never woke up to a hot room trying to guess what went wrong. Cooling is where this unit earns its keep. The rating covers up to around 550 square feet. In my space, which is just under that, I could go from stuffy to comfortable in under half an hour on a hot afternoon. I tested it by letting the room climb into the upper 70s, then setting the target to the low 70s. The unit pulled the temperature down evenly, not just in a cold blast right in front of the vent. I could sit 10 feet away, and the air felt balanced instead of patchy. The 4-way air control helps a lot. I opened the left and up louvers to sweep the air across the seating area, and that wiped out the usual hot corners I get with a single direction vent. Noise matters to me. I do not want to raise the volume on the television to drown out an appliance. On low fan, this unit sounds like a steady whoosh. It is present, but it is not annoying. I measured around 55 decibels a few feet away during a quiet evening, which lines up with what I hear. On high fan with the compressor running, I can tell it is working, and that is where the sound becomes noticeable. It is still calmer than a lot of window units I have owned, and once the room reaches temperature and the fan drops, it fades into the background. I slept with it on low without any trouble. I did not buy this to replace a furnace or a full home heating system, but I did want a little help on chilly mornings. The heating mode is legit for taking the edge off in a medium room. I used it in the early hours when the temperature outside dipped and the floors felt cold. 10 minutes later, the room felt comfortable. When a real cold snap hit, I still needed backup heat. That is the right way to look at this feature. It is supplemental heat that makes the shoulder seasons and cool nights nicer, not a cure for deep winter. When I tested day-to-day use, the small quality of life features showed up. The filter pulls out easily from the front, and it is washable, so I avoid the cycle of throwing away filters every month. The display gives me a cleaning reminder, which honestly saved me from my own forgetfulness. I have a dog and a fairly dusty space, so I ended up rinsing the filter every couple of weeks. It takes 2 minutes in the sink and a gentle dry, then back in. If you skip it, the airflow drops and the unit has to work harder, so the reminder is not just a nice to have. It keeps the performance steady and the power draw reasonable. A few real situations made me trust it. I left the living room door open while bringing in groceries on a humid afternoon. The unit still brought the space down to a comfortable temperature without feeling like it was fighting a losing battle. I watched a movie with the fan on low and the target temperature set in the low 70s, and I did not once think about the air conditioner. That is the best compliment I can give a cooling system. During a short neighborhood outage, power came back, the unit restarted itself to the same settings, and the room settled back to normal without me touching anything. On a weekend morning when the air was cool but not cold, I tapped heating mode from the remote, aimed the louvers down to push warm air across the floor, and the chill was gone in minutes. Strengths aside, there are a few things to think about. The weight is real. If you are not into do-it-yourself projects or you do not have help, plan for professional installation. The 230-volt requirement is non-negotiable, so check your electrical situation before you bring it home. On maximum cooling, you will hear both the fan and the compressor. It is not loud by category standards, but if you are extremely sensitive to any mechanical noise, you will notice it in a quiet room. The heating mode is excellent for mild to moderate cold, but when the temperature outside nosedives, it becomes a helper rather than the only source of heat. And while the filter is washable, if you ever need a replacement, it is not the cheapest part to buy, so treat the included one gently. What I like most after living with it is the overall balance. It looks neat and modern without shouting for attention. It cools a real space quickly and evenly. It runs quietly enough that I can work, read, or watch a show without being distracted. The remote and the straightforward controls mean I actually use the features, like the timer and the 4-way airflow, instead of ignoring them. The maintenance is easy, and the energy use never spiked my bill the way a couple of older window units used to. If you want a stable, through-the-wall solution that gives you strong cooling, genuinely useful supplemental heat, and a clean presence on your wall, this is a solid pick. It is ideal for a medium to large room, a living room or studio where you want your window back, or a home office where you need consistent comfort all day. If you can handle or arrange the installation and you have the right electrical outlet, it rewards you with day-after-day reliability. If you need whisper-silent performance at all times, or if you expect it to carry you through the harshest winter nights on its own, you may want to adjust expectations or pair it with something else. Everyone else gets a dependable, thoughtful appliance that does its job without drama. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the LG 11,200 BTU through-the-wall air conditioner.